Firstly, I'd like to address Diego's point against foreigners, saying that only that citizens will not be targeted by programs like Prism. But it does say in the Constitution that every man is born with certain unalienable rights. So why are we letting domestic affairs affect international liberties? If the government can't take away a citizen's rights, then what gives them the power to take away a citizen of another country's rights? I would also like to address the fact that he said there were 54 foiled terrorist attempts, but the only people that are able to report this are the NSA, Prism, and the government, who have a clear bias into the success of these programs that they have instated. So, of course, they're going to want to say that they have all of these successes, but we have no way of proving whether or not they're true necessarily. To address, to reinforce a point I brought up earlier, the Apple case, there's a quote from the New York Times stating that the Apple case really goes right to the heart of this encryption issue, and in some ways this fight was inevitable. So Apple engineers have actually reported that the same engineers who built the strong encryption into the iPhone to protect the users, ironically, are being ordered to actually weaken those protections and make users of iPhones less safe. So Apple's arguing that the software that the FBI wants to create doesn't exist, and that technologists say that this technology possibly does. However, why are we taking away from safety when these programs are supposed to be making people safer? And lastly, to address a point that Colin made here, the dispute could initiate legislation in Congress, with Republicans and Democrats alike criticizing Apple's stance on Wednesday and calling for tougher decryption requirements. And I have a quote from Donald Trump saying who do they think they are in regards to Apple. Okay, now if Donald Trump feels this passionately about the legal rights of Apple to say no under the Freedom Act, then when if he were to have the power, let's say, under the presidency to control Prism and other companies like that, who's to stop him from targeting U.S. citizens and discriminating against different cultures and different races? And lastly, to address a point that I did not get to say, is that there's actually a lot of public consensus that's been drawing against this. 19% of all Americans can think of an example where the government did a good job of providing data information, and the same 19% can think of a bad instance where the government did not actually relay information about data well, which means upwards of 60% can't even think of a time in which the government relayed information about this data mining. We're looking at people having an increased concern. 47% of the U.S. populace is saying that anti-terrorism policies have gone too far, and that while 35% are more concerned that the policies are not going far enough. And the Democrats and Republicans are actually increasing in their stand against this, up with the Democrats up at 42% against versus 33% before. So I just like to leave you with the question that if the U.S. government continues to make decisions against the public consensus, can we keep saying that this is a government made by the people, of the people, and for the people?